Hi guys, welcome grade 12. Mindset is finally at your turn. It's Maths Lit Live and Peter's with us. If you've seen us before, you know that it's going to be an amazing performance. Show, obviously, because Peter is the best teacher ever. And talking about teachers, we have to say that tonight is the National Teachers Award, well, the National Teaching Award, and we want to say good luck to all the amazing teachers out there, and you go get them. Guys, teachers are the best. You need to tell them how much you appreciate them every day because they do it all for you, and they're incredible people. I'm sure that Peter's going to have something to say about that as well. And today, what are we chatting about today, Peter?
Well, today we're going to be looking at perimeter area and surface area, as well as maybe touching on volume if we have time. Remember, we started that last week, so we're just going to recap a little bit what we did last week, and then we're going to move on. And by the way, I want to just talking about last week, thank you for the help you gave me last week. I had a bit of problems with my indicator. It wasn't working properly. So I asked Indiana just to check it for me. So I turned it on and said, is it working? And she said, it's working, it's not working. It's working, it's not working.
Very clever, Peter. I like that one. I like that one. So guys, get chatting to us on facebook.com/learnextra, and that's with an XTRA. Our Twitter handle is @learnextra. Please get the questions in, guys. We're taking our questions in the last section of the show, and if I don't have any questions, I'm going to be in trouble with this one, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get cracking. See you now. Hi guys, and welcome back. Finally, it's the grade 12's turn. I know you guys can't wait, because you guys have obviously been sitting since the grade 10 show. Hey? So guys, get chatting to me. Tell me how your day was. Let me know what you've been doing. I want to chat to you. I want to see how you're doing. And if there's anything that you're struggling with, please, please, please let me know. And I know that I've said this before, but I just want to give a big shout out to the National Teachers Awards that's happening tonight. If any of you have any of your teachers that are nominated, let me know. We want to know. So Peter, let's get straight to it.
Right, absolutely. So, overview. Last week we looked at perimeter and we looked at area, and I thought what we'll do this week is we'll just quickly recap what we did so quickly that I nearly finished already. So let's go through it. First of all, perimeter. And we said that a perimeter is measuring the distance around a specific object. Okay? So we start at one point, we walk along, walk along, walk along, walk along, and we end at our starting point. And that's our perimeter. We said to calculate the perimeter of a square, we can say perimeter is 4 times the side. Okay? If my side is A, we're going to say it's 4A. If my side is 5 centimeters, we're going to say it's 4 times 5 centimeters, so it's going to be 20 centimeters. Rectangle, we said we are going to say it's twice or 2 times the long side plus 2 times the short side. So it's 2 of the A sides, 2 of the B sides, and that gives me my perimeter. I would even make it even more simpler and say this, because I always say to my guys, don't try and learn a whole lot of formulas. It makes life a nightmare. Just try and say, you know what, I'm finding the perimeter. I'm going to say this plus this plus this plus this. Don't worry about a formula. So I would say it's that plus that plus that plus that. For here, I would say it's that distance plus that distance plus that distance plus that distance, and I'd say, you know what, let's find a pen, let's find a nice green one, and we're going to say, let's just ignore all that rubbish, because it is rubbish. Maths people do things like that. Maths lit, we're real life, we down to earth, we really like practical kind of guys. Right, moving on. The next one we looked at was a triangle, and we said to find the perimeter of the triangle, we're just going to say it's that side plus that side plus that side. We did last week as well speak a little bit about Pythagoras' theorem, and we said Pythagoras' theorem is used in a right angle triangle when we only given 2 of the sides, and we got to find a 3rd side. So on looking at this little triangular shape here, if I knew A and B and I had to find the length of C, C would be A squared plus B squared. We'd get an answer, and then we'd square root that answer. Guys, you know this though, because we went through it very carefully last week. We spent quite a bit of time with it, and we don't want to go through it all again today. What I will say is this, that if you have forgotten it, then I don't know, how can they get last week's program? Do they?
We will be putting it up on YouTube at some point. Guys, I will let you know on the Facebook page when they have been uploaded. And as soon as the schedule's out with the rerun program, it'll all be on the Facebook page, and I will let you know. We do have the highlights package taking place on the weekend, so you can tune in to learn more and learn extra.
Okay, that was more than what we asked for. But let's move on anyway. To find the perimeter of a circle now, what we would have to do is, if we started at this point, we'd have to walk all the way around the circle and get back to the starting point. And another word for the perimeter of a circle is called the circumference. And guys, that's a formula, and you just got to know that, hey? Circumference is equal to 2 times pi times r. We spoke about what r is. R is my radius. So if I look at a circle, and I were to draw a line right through the circle, through the center of the circle, so from one edge of the circle to the other edge of the circle, this line is called my diameter. My radius is from the center of the circle through to the circumference of that circle. So radius is just from the center to the edge. Okay? We spoke about that last week as well in quite a lot of detail. The formula for the circumference of the circle, by the way, would probably be given to you in a test or in an exam. It's been given to you all the matrics so far. So from 2008 all the way through 2011, we've given you that formula. So I can't see why it would change in 2012. So moving on. We then started looking at these wonderful things called areas. And we said to calculate the area of a square, we say length times breadth. But a square sides are the same. So it's the same thing as saying length squared or breadth squared. But I hate doing that. To me, let's scribble all that out and say, you know what, the area of a square is length times breadth. Because the area of a rectangle is also length times breadth. And a square is a type of rectangle anyway. Okay, so instead of learning 300, 400 different formulas, or trying to understand 3 or 4 different 100 formulas, let's just understand one. Area, length times breadth. Whether it's a whether it's a rectangle or whether it's a square. We then started looking at a triangle, and we said the area is half times base times the height. And not just any height, but my perpendicular height. Remember, we stressed that. Because I said as well last week was that if you're given a triangle, okay, this is not the height of my triangle. Whoa, there goes my triangle. We'll just bring it back down, shall we? No, we won't. We'll draw a new one. Okay, there goes the triangle. So we've got a new triangle. This is not the height of my triangle. My height of my triangle is this guy here. Okay, that's the height of my triangle. Okay, so that would still be my base, but this is the height of that triangle. Understand that? Okay, so finding the area of a triangle is half times the base times that perpendicular height. Got that? And again, that's a formula that's normally given in an examination. Then we started looking at a circle, and we said that the area of a circle is pi times r squared. Towards the end of the program last week, somebody phoned, and I can't remember, I think her name was Dolly, if I remember correctly, and Dolly phoned and she said, is r squared the same thing as 2r's? Okay, in other words, is radius squared the same thing as saying 2 times the radius? And I was so thrilled that she asked that question, because so many matrics in the final paper actually believe that. So many matrics say, well, I've got to say r squared. Oh, let's just say r times 2. And what we did was, and I'm going to do it now because it's so important, if we pretended that r was equal to 10 centimeters, okay? And so if I said 10 squared, I would get 100. If I said 2 times 10, I would get 20. Guys, it's definitely not the same thing at all. Don't fall for that trap. So I was thrilled that Dolly asked us that question, because it's a concept that so many matrics seem to confuse. Okay, now let's move on. And finally now we come to the new work of the day. And this is a phenomenal question, because it involves so much perimeter and it involves so much area. We're actually going to apply all the knowledge that we've looked at so far. You'll remember last week I said to you guys, I said, we're teaching you the basics. And the basics are things we are not going to question you on in the final exam. I'm not going to give you a little square and say, what's the area of the square? And you say 2 times 3, the area is 6. That's humiliating. Okay? But you have to know the basics to apply to a problem. And this is a problem. We're going to look at a problem about a netball court. Now, I've been criticized before by loads and loads and loads of women, not about my looks, that too, but also about the fact that I look at a lot of examples to do with guys. Normally, I look at a soccer field or a rugby field or a wrestling ring or some manly macho thing. Well, today we thought we'd go the feminist route and look at a womanly lady type question. And so we're going to look at netball. Okay, so netball is a game played between 2 teams with 7 players on each team. The rectangular netball court is divided into 3 equal sections with the center starting circle with radius 0,45 meters. And 2 semicircles at each end, marking out the goal shooting areas with radius 4,9 meters, as shown in the layout plan below. The measurements on the diagram, not drawn to scale, are given in meters. Okay, now, there are a few things that we've got to look at with this question. If you never tuned into the grade 11 hour, well, that was a silly thing to do, hey? Because you know that you're in grade 12, but a lot of the work you do in grade 12 is based on your grade 11 work. So you guys in grade 12 watching this program, you should have been watching the grade 11 program, right? But in that program, I said that normally what we should do is read the whole question and get a feeling for that question. And that's what we're going to do here. So I'm not even going to read the questions, I'm just reading the whole problem and going to look at the picture. There are a few things that we need to underline. The first thing is this, that my netball court is rectangular, okay? And it's divided into 3 equal sections, with a center starting circle. So here is my circle right in the center of my problem. There she is there. Now, the important thing, it has a radius of 0,45 meters. And I'm going to ask Indiana to type that up because we're going to flip over pages and I don't want to keep coming back to this. So Indiana, are you with us this afternoon?
Yes, I am. Are we writing down 4,9 meters?
And that's the 4,5 meters. Okay. And that's the radius of the center circle. Then added to that, we have 2 goal shooting areas. Okay, so here semicircles. Now guys, that's important, a semicircle. What is a semicircle? A semicircle is half a circle. So we've got 2 half circles. And that has, each of those have a radius of 4,9 meters. Okay? So here a radius 0,45. Here a radius of 4,9 meters. Okay. We're told that these measurements on the diagram are in meters, but they're not drawn to scale. That's important because otherwise sometimes we look at a diagram and if we think it's drawn to scale, we estimate answers based on the diagram. And we could be totally and completely and utterly wrong. So important thing, okay? This diagram is not drawn to scale. So you can't look at the diagram and say, whoa, that's 15, so this must be 30. No, it's not. Because already you've told that that whole distance is 30. So you can see it's out of proportion anyway. And guys, that's an important thing in your matric exam. So many times we give you diagrams and we'll say it's not drawn to scale. So you can't like estimate your answers. You've got to work them out accurately. Okay. Right, let's read the questions. We're going to get an overview of the questions and then tackle them individually. Your high school decides to build a grass netball court at their school and contracts Netball Incorporated to build the court. Okay, that's important. They've got a good company, it's called Netball Incorporated, because they're building a netball court. It would be silly if they went for Rugby Incorporated to build a netball. It just wouldn't be the same. All right, so now, what are the questions? Calculate the area of the netball court in meters squared. We're going to be told that the cost per goal net is 124 Rand 80. Calculate the cost of 2 goal nets. Lines will be painted on the netball court using grass paint. Calculate the length of the lines that need to be painted in meters. If it takes 2 workers 1 hour to paint the lines on the netball court, how many workers would be needed to complete the task in half the time? All right. Now, guys, we're going to tackle each question. The first thing I'm going to bring to your attention, and I say this every single week, well, normally every week, and that's this. A question is not a question unless there's a mark allocation. Because that mark allocation is going to give me some sort of idea how much work I've got to do. So here I've got a 2 marks. Wait, that's going to be easy. Here's a 2 mark. Yeah, that's going to be easy. 5 marks. Oh, hello. That could be a little more difficult, all right? And here's a 2 mark question, so it should be kind of straightforward. Right, so let's tackle that. Away we go. First question then, calculate the area of the netball court in meters squared. Guys, it's 2 marks. We knew it was going to be easy. Of course it's going to be easy. My netball court is a rectangle. How do I calculate the area of a rectangle? Area is length times breadth. So let's do that. Let's scroll down and we're going to say, right, area is going to be the length times the breadth. What is the length of my netball court? We were told 30,5. 30,5 what? 35,5 meters. Remember the question said the measurements given are in meters. So it's going to be 30,5. So I've got 30,5 multiplied by the breadth, which was 15,25 meters.
And Peter, I've also put the diagram onto Facebook. So, guys, if you want to download the diagram, it's on Facebook page. You can download it into the pictures on your cell phone, so you can have a look and see what Peter's talking about.
Okay, cool. All right.
Technology these days, hey?
It's scary, huh?
I know.
It really is. It's amazing how that actually works out. Last year, we had the misfortune of having to attend a funeral of one of our staff members. And we were sitting in the church, and it was all in Afrikaans. So was Afrikaanse vrou, baie wonderlik of mens. And we were sitting there, and while the service was going on, the kids could tune their cell phones to a different frequency and hear the English interpretation at the same time. Now that was just absolutely amazing. Well, I think it is anyway.
Incredible.
So technology is a great thing, and I think use it, hey?
Yeah.
You know, I use it at school all the time. I write notes on the board and I get carried away a little bit. I know that's hard to believe, but I get carried away and I write notes and everything, and then next minute we've only got 2 minutes before the bell goes and the guys say, "Sir, how are we going to get these notes down?" And they all bring out their cell phones and take pictures of the board, and then they go home and they can then print out all the notes, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And if any teachers are watching, hey, let me tell you this. You know, guys, teachers, you can't fight the system. Use it to your benefit. I do. I think it's fantastic. I can say to my guys at school, and you guys will know what I'm talking about now. I can say to my guys at school, listen, you've got a homework assignment. It's due next Tuesday. Next Tuesday comes and one person walks in with the homework assignment. On the school day, I can say to them, hey guys, everyone take out your cell phones. Give yourself a reminder. You've got an assignment due on Tuesday. Put your reminder in for Friday night, for Saturday night, and for Sunday night. And they all do that. And you know what? All my assignments come in. So if there are teachers out there, use the technology. I think it's great. Absolutely. Okay.
Incredible.
How did we get sidetracked like this? What do you...
I told the learners that I pasted the diagram on the Facebook page so they can see the diagram. That's where it started.
Okay, and that's where we went on a tangent. Okay, so back to this. So we're finding out the area of the netball court. It's straightforward. I'm going to use my calculator and say I've got 30.5, oops, let's go back there, shall we? 30.5 meters, multiplying that now by 15.25 meters, and I'm going to get an answer then of 465,125. So it's 465, what was it? 125. Let's get a pen again. Here we go. 125 what? Meters squared. And now I know we've got to take an ad break shortly, but before we do, let me just say this, because this is a good point to end off with. Guys, remember, if I'm dealing with perimeter, my units are just very simple. It's centimeters, or it's meters, or it's kilometers. If I'm dealing in area though, my units are going to be centimeters squared, meters squared, kilometers squared. Every year, and I've said this before, I've said it to the grade 10s, I've said it to the grade 11s, I'm saying it to the grade 12s again for the umpteenth time. Every year in grade 12, the final exam, the number of students that forget to put the square or the cube, it's criminal. It really is. Because you know what? You're just throwing a mark away. And man, just get it right. You've got to practice. And getting it right comes from practice, practice, practice. Okay, Indiana.
Exactly, guys. Practice makes perfect. Hey, Peter?
I practice a lot with myself.
He does. He does. So, guys, now Sanazo has said, where are all the mindsetters on the page? And I'm wondering the exact same thing. Guys, I'm very lonely here all by myself. You know, Peter talks so much. I want to chat to you. I want to see what you're struggling with. Is there anything that you're not understanding? Let me know. That's my job, and that's what I'm here to do. So we're going to take a quick break, and I'll see you all on the page right after. Bye. Hi guys, and welcome back. We're entering nearly the last half section of our show. Can you believe it's gone so fast? So apparently, the reason why no one is talking to me, McDonald's says that we're all understanding. So that's okay. If you're being quiet because you all understand, that's fine. But guys, if there is anything that you're not understanding, please go to facebook.com/learnextra @learnextra for our Twitter handle and get chatting to us. Without further ado, Peter's going to take us through the netball court question. Sorry.
There's one in every village. Okay, that's right, I'm talking about netball. But to respond to, well, who said that they all understand?
McDonald,
let me just tell you this. I sometimes feel that our show goes through a bit of a lull, and every now and then I like to share a joke, and I've run out of jokes for today. So even if you're watching, you suddenly think of a good joke, just send it to us as well.
Yes.
And then Indiana will interrupt me and say, here's one joke quickly, and then that just spices up the show. Not that we need a lot of spicing, because maths is full of spice. If this was a maths or a biology or science thing, then we'd need a whack with them, hey? But let's carry on. Right, so we worked out the area of our netball court. Okay, now why do we need to know that? Well, we need to know that because if we're placing a netball court in a specific area, we need to make sure the area is big enough for us to put this netball court. Okay, so that's the first thing we did. Now we're going to start looking at a few costing factors. And the first thing is this. The cost per goal net is 124 Rand 80. Calculate the cost of 2 goal nets. Oh my Gideon, that kind of question is an insult. Eh? That would be a paper 1 question. And the examiner would put that in because he's trying to boost your morale. It'll be one of the very first questions in the exam. We tend to do that. We tend to put 1 or 2 simple little ones in a paper 1 just to boost you and say, oh gee, this is cool, I can do this. And then we hit you hard. Alright, but for the first few, it's straightforward, and this is one of those. Now, I don't even know if we need to do this, because if 1 goal is 124 Rand 80, calculate the cost of 2 goals. Guys, I'm not going to do that, because you know how easy it is. All you're going to do is you're going to say 124 Rand 80 times 2. And you can do that, I'm not going to do it. Let's move on. Next question. So, the next one now is this. Lines will be painted on the netball court using grass paint. Calculate the length of the lines that need to be painted in meters. Oy, oy, oy. Now we're getting to some good stuff. Okay. It's 5 marks. Because it's 5 marks, I realize that there's a bit of work involved with this. Guys, if you get to a question and you have no idea where to start, because there's going to be 1 or 2 little problems here. If you've got no idea where to start, you know what? Write your thoughts down. Put it down on paper because you're going to pick up some part marks. So I'm going to give myself a lot of extra space here because I'm going to need it. Now, let's go back and look at our netball court. So we want to paint all these lines. You see all the lines in pink? That's what we want to paint. Now, the first few are straightforward because I can see I've got this line all the way around my basketball court. So I've got all these lines, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Straightforward, isn't it? So what do I have? Well, I have 30,5 meters plus 15,25 meters plus 30,5 meters plus 15,25 meters. Okay? So let's write that down now. I'm going to go this side. Why? Because I want to. So we're going to write this down, and I'm going to say, right, my perimeter, or the length of my lines, is 30,5 meters plus the one breadth, which was 15. Let's make that a plus. Oops. Sorry. Plus 15,25 meters plus the other length of 30,5 meters plus now 15,25 meters. Okay? Back to our drawing. So what we've done is we found the perimeter of all these sides. Now let's find the length of those two sides. And it's easy, isn't it? That side is the same length as the edge, which is 15,25 meters. So I need another 15,25 meters. So let's do that. We're going to say plus 15,25 meters plus 15,25 meters. Now, what else do we need to add? Well, we've got a circle in the middle of our netball court. So we have to find the perimeter of that circle, as it were, because we're going to paint that line. We've got to find the length of that line. The length of that line is like a circumference of a circle. Do you remember how we found the circumference of a circle? We said the circumference of a circle is pi times, or 2 times pi times r. So let's add that on. All right. Now, Indiana, before the break, typed down all these radiuses and dimensions for me. So I'm looking at her, and I can see she's going a little pale. So let's hopefully she's remembered that. So we've added all that, plus now, what are we going to do? We're going to say plus 2 times pi, and instead of pi, we're going to use 3,14. Why are we going to use 3,14? Because the latest trend in the Maths Lit papers is instead of using pi in your calculator, they're telling you let pi equal 3,14. And if the examiner tells you to do that, then do it. Okay? If your teacher says instead of pi, use 3,142, then use it. And that's what I'm going to do for this example. So we got 2 times pi, which is 3,14, times my radius. And what was the radius of the small circle, Indiana?
0.45.
0.45 meters. Excellent. Okay, great. Plus, now we've got to add something else. What else do we have to add? Well, let's look at our netball court. It's just made up of the semicircle little thing on the edge here. The what do they call this? The goal shooting area.
I think it's called the gi, actually.
The gi.
The gi of the guy. No, the gi. The circle. Anyone play netball out there? I'm pretty sure it's called the gi. I could be wrong though.
Okay, I'm just going to call it a semicircle. So we're going to find the perimeter of the gi, or the semicircle, and that's what we're going to do. Right, now, we've got a semicircle here, and we've got a semicircle there. Each semicircle has the same radius of, camera on Indiana?
4.9 meters.
Okay, cool. So each, are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, cool. So each semicircle has a radius of
4.9 meters.
9 meters. Okay. So if I've got one semicircle and another semicircle, guys, that's like having a whole circle. I think it makes sense. We've got a semicircle. I've got a semicircle, put the two semicircles together, and I've got a whole circle. So instead of finding the perimeter of that semicircle and the perimeter of that semicircle, you know what? I'm going to find the perimeter of the circle. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, right, plus. Now, the perimeter of a semicircle is 2 times pi, which we're going to say 3,14, times the radius, which Indiana told me was?
Is that the 4.9?
4,9
meters.
Okay. Now, I'm glad she stressed meters, okay, because in this question, whenever you're dealing with an area question or perimeter question or a volume question, always make sure our units are the same. So all our units in this question, we've been looking at meters. Okay, we've been saying the radius of the circle is so many meters. The length of the court was so many meters. The breadth of the court was so many meters. the radius of the gi or the semicircle
Semicircle.
was so many meters. Okay, so everything was in meters, and because it was all in meters, we carried on with the problem. If it wasn't all in meters, then the first thing we'd have to do is change all the units to be the same. So if we had a bit of millimeters and a bit of centimeters and a bit of meters and a bit of kilometers, guys, we'd have to get everything to the same unit before we even begin looking at perimeters and areas and things. Okay, now all that remains for us to do is to take out our calculator and to add all that up, okay, or to do the problem, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say, okay, we have 30.5, I'm going to use my finger there, right, plus a 15.25, plus the other length of 30.5, plus the other breadth of 15.25. And then you remember we had the two lines running down, okay, that broke the whole rectangle into three parts. And they were each 15.25 as well. So we're going to say plus 15.25 plus 15.25. Plus, now we found the area of our center circle. So we're going to say plus, and let's use our bracket, why not? 2 times 3.14, okay, multiplied by 0.45. Close this bracket, and to that we're going to add the other two little semicircles, which we made one circle. So we're going to say plus 2 times 3.14 times 4.9. Close our bracket equals, and guys, here's our answer. We need to paint 155,598 meters of line. Okay, let's just check our question. It says calculate the length. Let's get rid of this guy. Calculate the length of the lines that need to be painted in meters. All right, it doesn't tell us how much we're going to round it off to, but if we wanted whole meters, we'd have to say, you know what, we're going to paint approximately 156 meters worth of line. Okay, now sure, that was quite a bit of work, hey guys, it really was. But we expected that work because we saw it was worth quite a few marks. Okay, so 155,598. Let me write that down because we might need it again just now. 155.
Should I write it down too? Just in case?
Just in case.
Just in case. Comma.
What was it? 155,598. And back to a pen. Oops, where's our pen gone? 598.
You'll be interested to know that that circle's called shooting, the semicircle's called a shooting circle.
So where did you get gi from?
I'm sure that it's called a gi in basketball or something. I will find the answer and I will prove it.
Isn't gi fat pig or something? Really?
No, I'm sure you shoot from the gi. My brother's watching. Kennedy, do you shoot from the gi? Let me know.
That worries
Perhaps.
me that your brother plays netball.
Basketball, he's very tall.
Oh, it's basketball.
Basketball, he's very tall.
Netball,
Yeah.
two different things.
Well, it's the same thing. Semicircle, it's the gi.
Indiana, I think, or rather Indiana's brother, I think your sister has just insulted you like you cannot. Not that there's anything wrong with netball. Not all. Now we're getting into all kinds of serious trouble. I think we should just move on.
Let's move on.
Okay. Right, our final question was, if it takes 2 workers 1 hour to paint the lines on the netball court, how many workers would be needed to complete the task in half the time? Okay. 2 workers take 1 hour. We want to do it in half an hour. So we want half the amount of time. You know how many matrics will say, well, if you want half the amount of time, we're going to half the workers. So instead of having 2 workers, let's have 1 worker. But guys, it works the other way around. It's actually called inverse proportion, but we'll get onto that another time. But basically, if I want to double up the amount of work, because that's virtually what I'm doing. I'm taking an hour's of work and I'm cramming it into a half an hour. I've got 2 guys doing it. I'm going to need 4 guys to do the same work in that half an hour. Okay, are we all right on that? Indiana, any questions?
Well, we actually do. This one comes from Isaiah, and Isaiah wants to know, where did you get the radius of the center circle, and are and R of the radius of the two semicircles.
Okay.
I know we went through it, but
was
maybe
actually right in the beginning. The question was that it said netball is a game played, blah, 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 and with the center starting circle with a radius of 0.45 meters. And then it said, and two semicircles each with a radius of 4.9 meters. So that's where we got it from.
And don't you think when they get a question like that, maybe the best thing to do would actually take the diagram and actually write it in there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Hey?
yeah.
Because, and I agree 100% with you. The only reason I didn't do it here is because we're swapping pages the whole time. But guys, that's phenomenal, okay? And that's what we said last week as well. It's horrible reading all this information in a paragraph. Here it all is. Wow. Rather take it and say, you know what, let's put it down on the diagram. Because it's easier to extract information from a diagram than a whole paragraph of words. So what you should have actually done, and again, I'm going to say this, I didn't do it for this example because all our questions that we're doing keep flipping on another page. But what we should have said is this. Okay, so I have a radius here. Okay, let me try a different color there. There we go. I have a radius there of 0.45. And I should have actually written it in 0.45 meters. I have a radius here of 4.9 meters. Okay, because when we put it in the diagram, geez, it works out so much easier. So thanks for that question. That was great.
Fantastic. I don't think we have any other questions. Do you have anything else? Guys, please send me questions. Please, no question is too silly or too stupid. All questions are welcome.
Except there is one silly
jokes.
question.
One silly question.
There is always, I've always said this and I say to my students all the time, the only stupid question is the question that you ask after your final exam, because then it's too late. Okay? Up to that final exam, no question is a stupid question. But if you come to me after a final exam and say, sir, how do you, then I just see red. I get really annoyed because it's too late. You can't do anything. You've written that final paper. It's all over. But before that, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Peter, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick ad break. Guys, don't leave. We still have stuff to get through. Get your questions in. Get your jokes in, because you know how Peter loves those. And we'll see you now after the break. Hi guys, and welcome back, grade 12s. We're getting to the end of, can you believe we've got 15 minutes left? I can't. Okay, I think I found a joke for Peter. Let's see, I've always been really bad at telling jokes, but let's see if I can get it right. Okay, so Peter, if your father and mother both give you $50, or 50 rands, what will you get? So if your mom gives you $50 and your 50 rand, and your dad gives you 50 rand, how much is it?
100 rand.
No, you get a new video game.
Oh.
Okay, guys, we are moving. We're moving on to surface area, and let me have a look here. Lusanda has asked us, please, can you help me with surface area? So, Lusanda, this one's for you. Isaiah, so glad you're joining in. Sanazo, so glad you're joining in, guys. Watch this. Don't leave those seats. We've got 15 minutes left, and let's learn more and let's learn extra.
All right, folks, so now we're coming to this wonderful section of surface area. And you know what? A lot of people take this section and they actually make it, or make it seem worse than what it is. Surface area is actually very simple. All it is, it's a whole lot of areas that you add up together. Okay? So here I have a box. And if you were to look at the box, okay, there's the camera, we're moving back here. There we are. All right, so here we have a box. And if I were to say to you, I want to paint this box, I need to calculate the surface area. And the word, listen to the word, okay? It's the area of the surface, hence surface area. Now, the surface area of this box is very simple. All I'm doing is I'm going to find the area of the side. Then I'm going to find the area of this side of the box. Then I'm going to find the area of this side of the box. Unfortunately, the top of the box is missing, so we'll just move on.
And,
okay?
and he's completely
and I've just broken something here as well. So now we've got glass in the studio. Okay.
No, don't worry. It's just John's physics set.
Okay.
It's okay.
And then I find the surface area of this box. The area of this side of the box. Then the area. So basically, all I'm doing is finding the area of the different sides. How many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so you say length times breadth, 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 and you're adding up your 6 answers. Surface area is not hard at all. It's straightforward. Okay? So let's have a look at a few of the problems. Okay. Now, first one, surface area of a rectangular prism. How would we calculate the surface area? Well, it's a rectangle and it's a long box. Alright? So we'd find the surface area of the top of the box. So we're finding the area. The area is length times the breadth. Then we find the area of the bottom of the box. Now guys, the bottom of the box is the same as the top of the box. And because the bottom is the same as the top, once we found the one answer, we're just going to times it by 2. Because then we've got both the areas of both the top and the bottom. Okay? Likewise, if we find the surface area of this side, we're going to say the area of that rectangle is length times the breadth, or the length times the breadth, whichever one you want to call the length, whichever one you want to call the breadth. Once I've found the area of this side, well, that side's area is going to be exactly the same. So I'm just going to multiply by 2, straightforward. And the final thing then is the front of the box is going to be length times the breadth. And the back of the box is exactly the same. So it's going to, once we find the one answer, we just times 2. Now guys, once we've got all those areas, we add them up. And voila, there's our answer. This is not hard stuff. But it's based on area. That's why we teach area before we look at surface area. Let's have a look at a triangular prism. Now, triangular prism is basically made up of what? It's made up of 3 rectangles and 2 triangles. That's all. Now, you know how to find the area of a rectangle. It's length times breadth. So, if I were to draw this side that we're looking at here, it's actually, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a rectangle. And a rectangle has a length and a breadth. So, the area of that side is length times breadth. Okay? And there's 3 of them. So I'm going to do the same that side, which is a rectangle, length times breadth. The same at the bottom, which is length times breadth. Add up my 3 answers, and I've got the surface area of all the sides. Now just the ends. If I look at that end, what do I have? I have a triangle. Now just find the area of the triangle. And the area of the triangle is half the base times that perpendicular height. Okay, so once we found that, we times it by 2 because there are 2 of them. Then guys, I'm going to add up the 3 rectangles and add up the 2 triangles on the end. And I found the surface area. Okay, who was asking us about surface area?
That was, let me just have a look. That was Lusanda.
Okay, Lusanda, I hope you've realized how easy it is. So you've asked, I said, please go through it because I'm really battling with this. Lusanda, I'm glad you were battling with it, but now you shouldn't be battling at all. In fact, you should be sitting on your couch saying, oh, yeah, this is so basic, this is so easy. How could I never have understood it? Okay? If I understand area, then surface area is just as easy. Finally, we're going to look at a cylinder. Okay? And we're going to look at the surface area of the cylinder. Now, I have a cylinder here. So, let's look at this cylinder. So, I'm not allowed to tell you what it is. I get into trouble every time I advertise a product. The fact that this is multi-feed has got nothing to do with the program, so I won't mention it at all. But basically, I have a cylinder of something here. And a cylinder has got 2 circular ends. So if I'm asking you to find the surface area of this entire cylinder, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of the circle. An area of a circle is pi times r squared. So I'm going to find the area of that circle, then I'm finding the area of that circle, and normally it's going to be the same thing. In fact, it will be the same thing. Okay? So I'm going to find the area of the circle and times it by 2. Voila! Now I'm nearly halfway. Now, in the program, I think it was 2 programs before this, I had a cylinder, and I actually cut the cylinder up. And I'm not allowed to cut this. I've been told by the producer, do not cut up my multi-feed stuff. It's got a weirder smell as well. All right, so I won't cut it up. But if I did cut it up, okay, I would cut off the ends, so I would have a circle and I would have a circle. If I cut along here and cut that up and open that cylinder or that round part up, okay, I would be left with a rectangle. Oy, oy, oy. Now finding the surface area of a cylinder is actually straightforward, isn't it? Because all I'm doing is I'm finding the area of two circles, and then I'm finding the area of a rectangle. I know that the length of this rectangle, here she is there, okay, is the height of the cylinder. And what is this length here? Well, this length goes all the way around my circle. So it's the same as the circumference of the circle. So this is my circumference of the circle. And what is circumference of a circle? It's 2 times pi times r. Okay. I really wish our producer would let us cut up that tin, because if I did that, it would make life a lot easier. But unfortunately, we're going to have weird chemicals flying everywhere. So next week, I'll bring in my own cylinder again, and I'll cut it all up for you, and it'll make it easier. All right. I hope this is making sense. Let's start looking at a few problems. Okay, so I've just kind of destroyed the entire circuit ware, so let's go. All right. So we've looked at that. Here's a question. Calculate the surface areas of the following. We have a rectangular prism. Find the surface area of a cardboard box shown below if the length is 12 meters. Now, remember just now we had someone ask us a question, and I said, where possible, let's put the units, or let's put the measurements on the diagram. So let's do that. So here now we have a length of 12 meters. Let's write that down there. The breadth is 5 meters, so we have 5 meters over there, and the height is 8 meters. So my box is now 8 meters high. Each side is a rectangle, so we will use the formula area is length times breadth 6 times, as there are 6 sides in total. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to find us some more pages here, and away we go. Right, first thing I'm going to do is I am going to try and find the area of the front of my box. Okay, so finding the area in the front of my box, I've got area's length times the breadth. We're just going to look at that. We're pretending it's one little rectangle. Okay, forget the whole box. Let's just look at the front. So as I look at the box, I see a rectangle. And it's going to be length times breadth. So my area here is length times breadth, which is going to be 12 multiplied by, now let's look. We know that's 12. We know the height is 8. So here I've got 12 times 8. Okay. And now I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat and make life easy and say times 2. Indiana, why am I saying times 2?
Because there's 2 sides?
Absolutely, hey? Because there's a front and a back that are exactly the same. Okay, so we've got length times breadth, and I'm saying once we've got the area, let's times it by 2, because the back is going to be exactly the same as the front of my box. All right. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the area of the side of our boxes. And we're going to say area equals the length, 8 times 5. Okay? So I'm going to say 8 times 5. And again, I'm going to say times 2. Why? Because we've got a side over here, and I've got the other side from that angle. So we've got 2 different sides to the box, hence times 2. Finally, then, we're going to find the area of the top and the bottom of the box. So let's draw in some more units. We said this was 12, and we said the breadth was 5. Now it's easy, hey? It's going to be 12 times 5. So my other area then is going to be 12 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 2. Why 2? Because the bottom is going to be exactly the same as the top of my box. Now we jump to our little calculator and we try and calculate the area of both sides, top and bottom, and the other 2 sides, front and back, and then we just add up our answers. So let's do that. Out comes the calculator. and we say, right, I've got 12 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 2 equals 192. And we'll write that down. So 192. 192 what? 192 meters squared. Why squared? Because we're dealing with area. Okay, next thing is 8 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 2, because there are 2 of them, and I get 80. So we're going to now write 80 what? Meters squared. Okay? And finally then, 12 times 5 times 2, clear our calculator, 12 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 2 equals 120. 120 what? 120 meters squared. Oops, let's just find this pen again. There we go, 120 meters squared. Okay, so what do? We now add that up. And we say, right, we've got 120, we're going to add 80 meters squared to that. We're going to add 192 meters squared. And our final answer, 392 meters squared. 392 meters squared, that is our final answer. Okay? Wasn't hard, guys. It looked complicated, but all we've done is just added the little bits.
Fantastic.
Okay. Any questions while I think of moving on?
Well, Peter, you know that me and you know, we've been doing shows and we kind of know each other a little bit better every single week. And I wanted to know, are you free in March from the 21st to the 22nd? Are you available? Are you free?
For 2 days?
Yeah, for 2 days. Because I've won an all-expenses paid trip for me and 4 of my friends. Everything, flights, accommodation, anything you can imagine, like front row seats to a rugby game, and the producer's going to come with. You know how much you love her because he talks about her non-stop. So if you're free, I was wondering if you could feed my dog while I'm away.
Oh, that is just horrible. That is just absolutely horrible.
So thank you, Kate, for sending in that fantastic one. Yes, I got him. Thank you, Kate. One more joke, and then I'm going to get to a question. Hold on. So this is from Lutando. And Lutando says, what lies at the bottom of an ocean and twitches?
Is that what you're
I'm twitching. Yeah.
Okay, no, sorry.
So what lies at the bottom of an ocean and twitches?
No idea.
A nervous wreck.
Oh.
Hey?
Should we do some maths?
Yes, let's do some maths.
Or do we have any other questions?
Well, we've literally got 1 minute. So what I'm going to say is, Mawinga wanted to know about a hexagonal prism. So I said what we'll do is we'll go over that next week. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, because that can get a little more complicated. I actually don't know if that's in your syllabus.
Okay.
To be quite honest with you. So let me check up, make sure it's in the syllabus. If it is, let's tackle it full on, because it's actually quite nice, because the hexagonal prism is going to be made up of a whole lot of rectangles, but it's the top that's going to make life a little bit interesting. Okay, we'd have to break that up and get a little bit of triangles and squares and rectangles and all kinds of
fantastic.
things.
You're lucky that we only have 30 seconds left, so we don't have any time for any hexagonal prisms today. But guys, we're going to look at that next week. If there's anything that you have been struggling with, post the question on the page. Also help each other out. We love people helping each other out. Mindsetters, team mindset, that's what we're all about. Grade 12s, thank you so much for joining us for all 3 shows. Hope you have a fantastic, fantastic evening, and we'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Goodbye.